Hey everyone, and welcome to Cricket SWAC Game Day, presented by Pepsi Zero Sugar. It is week 5, and we have a lot of items to discuss this week. Today's show is brought to you by Cricket. Smile, you're on Cricket. Pepsi Zero Sugar, official partner of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. So the big story is obviously the hurricane and its potential impact on Florida, Georgia, and other surrounding areas. Now, we can't quite give you up-to-the-minute details as the storm moves and shifts along its path, but let's approach the show like this today, okay? If you're watching this show online, we'll try to keep you up to date in the comment section about how Hurricane Ian might impact this weekend's SWAC football schedule. And for the absolute latest info, as always, just go to SWAC.org, and you can also follow the Southwestern Athletic Conference on social media for all of the latest news about this weekend. All right, let's look back now at week 4 to set the table for the weekend. The SWAC scoreboard is brought to you by General Motors, official sponsor of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. The Battle of Mississippi, it goes to Jackson State, 49-7 winners over Mississippi Valley State. Bethune-Cookman and Grambling State, it was close until it wasn't. Big finish for BCU, Coach Sims and his squad with the first win of the year. Texas Southern, they had a decent showing against the Roadrunners. I love that mascot, the Roadrunners of Texas San Antonio. Tigers fall, though, 52-24. FAMU and Alabama A&M, this one was crucial. Give the nod to FAMU, 38-25 winners. Prairie View A&M goes into Montgomery, gets the win over Alabama State, 24-15. And the score might not indicate it, but Alcorn State's 38-21 win over Arkansas Pine Bluff was a really, really good game. If you caught that one on HBCU Go, they did a really great job there. All right, let's get into the highlights so you can see how it all went down in week 4. And is it still too early? Is it too early? I don't know. It kind of feels like maybe not. We'll see. Do you have any divisional favorites already? I'll tell you what, you guys discuss at home. Let's get started with Mississippi Valley State visiting Jackson State. Our favorite cousin, Cousin D, was on the scene.
Jackson State dedicated this football season to young Dolph. And the way they've been playing, it's definitely been a paper route empire. What's up, HBCU Game Day family? It's your favorite cousin from Mississippi, D. James. I'm here in Jackson as the Delta Devils from Itabena come to the vet to take on the Tigers. Coach Dancy brings in a winless Mississippi Valley team as they are still rebuilding, but last year, this same very team was one of few teams that actually applied pressure to the Jackson State Tigers last year. So on the other side of the field, you got the young GOAT, Shedeur Sanders. You got the Sonic Boom, and you got a roster that's full of talent. And they're starting to draw some NFL attention. Newly appointed Mississippi Valley Athletic Director Hakeem McClellan was also in attendance at the game today. McClellan, who is a Valley alum, transitioned back to his alma mater after working at Jackson State's athletic department with A.D. Ashley Robinson. So in front of 28,000 fans, you know it was hot, but they had the hydration stations. We're not going to be like the other people and talk down on nobody. Players met at midfield for coin toss. Valley ended up receiving the ball, and from the dough, Caleb Johnson comes out and punches Jackson State smooth in the mouth, up the sideline. He really should have scored, but he got tripped up. Valley just took all the air up out the vet so quick, because 2 plays later, Jamari Jones threw a 25-yard touchdown pass. Valley is up 7-0. Jackson State didn't trip. Shedeur comes out real quick. Nice touch. Willie Gaines, 42 yards up the sideline. Nobody really gonna catch 10 when he's spinning like that. When 10 spinning like that, you're not gonna catch him. Jackson State 7, Mississippi Valley 7. Mississippi Valley ends up with a bad snap. That Jackson State defense don't care though. They all came back there. Jackson State is ranked in the top 10 in 10 different categories for FCS football teams across the nation. I'ma tell y'all one more time. 10 is gonna spin. You know Uncle Prime always keep, a little shifty player like a little Warren Newman. That's Willie Gaines. Hurdle. That's Willie Gaines. Shador comes back, hooks up with one of his favorite targets, hooks, hurdle. Everybody getting jumped over.
Hooks on the reception.
Now, one of the key improvements or differences in the Tigers is Savion Wilkerson. That boy a pinball, 30 yards, to the house, and he's flexed on him. Now, some people say Coach Prime is only for Jackson State, but I see a Mississippi Valley player on the ground, and I still see Coach Prime. Y'all got to stop hating. Now, Mississippi Valley ended up causing a fumble at the goal line, but they gave the ball right back. Shador threw it 5 yards to J.D. Martin. They got their touchdown right back. Jackson State went up 21-7 at halftime. Then, it's time for the show. The Mean Green Marching Machine came out, put on a show like no other. And then, that sonic boom, they came out. Did they normal? Did they diddy? And they had KK Psy as they also celebrated the other Divine Nine Greeks. Now coming out in the second half, Jackson State has done this every week so far, but this time it's my boy Santi. Santi take off up the sideline, scat back. That accumulated into a Hooks touchdown pass. I missed it, but I rock with Hooks. Whether it's hot or not, the vet always gonna turn up. J.D. Martin gets in for another touchdown. He had a good day today. John Huggins puts the nail in the coffin, though. He caps off a pick six, and he turns up. It's time to go home.
I thought we came out and we executed well, especially that opening drive. We got the ball right out of the gate, took it down and scored, on the opening drive. I thought our defense came out and, they did some good things early on in the first quarter. As I mentioned, I thought we played extremely well that first half. But after the first half, it kind of got out of hand for us. Those guys extremely talented, and once their second half kicked in, they was able to establish the run game. They broke a 90-yard run right after halftime and really kind of broke our backs.
Today was probably like a C+, if I'm a teacher. C+. We did some positive things. We did some really good things, but first half, we got to figure that out. We really got to figure that out. And it's not just me. The young men, they're not satisfied with how we're coming out in the first half as well.
All right, Florida A&M welcomed Alabama A&M onto the highest of 7 hills last weekend. A crucial SWAC East matchup trying to keep up with Jackson State. Teams, just can't afford to lose to one another with JSU just rolling along. Our Vaughn Wilson, he was there, and he caught up with head coach Willie Simmons after the victory.
It was the battle of the A&Ms. Connell Maynor and the Alabama A&M Bulldogs visiting Bragg Stadium and the Florida A&M Rattlers. With Bama A&M looking for their first win of the season, the Rattlers were looking for their second consecutive win and keeping their 11-game home winning streak alive. You'd hate to call a game this early a must-win, but it was a must-win for both schools. Coming out the gate, it was all Bulldogs. The defense led by Dre Terry put a halt to this run right where it started. FAMU leading tackler Isaiah Major would put a halt to this run after a short gain. Xavier Lanford came out fiery, hitting Brian Jenkins Jr. on this pass over the middle. Langford would then connect to his big tight end Bryson Clark, who drives it deep into FAMU territory. From there, the Bulldogs would pound in the first score and go up 7-0 on this Gary Quarles score. After getting the ball back, Quarles tries this run up the middle, but Major and Johnny Chaney Jr. put a stop to that. Bama A&M would go up 10-0 after this Victor Barbosa field goal. Musa would find his favorite target in Xavier Smith for this long catch and run and on this route near the goal line. From there, it's big boy time as Terrell Jennings bowls his way into the end zone. In Bragg, you know what happens after a touchdown. The cannon, and then them flag boys. The Rattler defense gets the fumble going, but it's a hot potato, and Alabama A&M comes up with it. Langford then connects with Donovan Eaglin on this swing pass for a first down. And Maynard was not happy with the officials about something, and you know he told them about it. After a punt that was downed inside the 3-yard line, FAMU tries to give the ball to Jamari Shareed, but the Bulldogs snuffed it out for this safety. They say you gotta be half crazy to be a kick returner. Cameron Young took this kickoff and ended up doing a 360 after a hit from B.J. Bowler. Back on defense, All-American Isaiah Land again stops the play in the backfield. The very next play, Gentle Hunt puts hands on Langford for a sack. Let the big boy do his thing. Not to repeat the same play as when they were in the end zone last time, Musa rolls out and hits Shareed, and he gets a nice run after catch. Mama, here comes that man again. Isaiah Land bats down this Langford pass. Langford would take matters into his own hands with this big run down the middle before being run down by Kendall Bowler. Eaglin would power in this touchdown, putting Alabama A&M up 19-7, but this is where the wheels would come off. Musa went to work, hitting Jamari Shareed on this crossing pattern, followed by this shot over the middle to David Manigault, and you could see this coming out of the break. Xavier Smith juked the defender down to his knees to come wide open for the touchdown over the middle of the end zone, making it a one-score game going into halftime, but more importantly, taking the momentum with the Rattlers into the half. At halftime in Bragg, you know what time it is. The Marching 100 was making it do what it do. Back to work we go for Musa. He hits Manigault over the middle for another nice run and catch. Then he hits the X-Man, Xavier Smith, on a short pass before a back shoulder toss for the touchdown. After the Jose Romo Martinez extra point, it was FAMU's first lead of the game. Momentum was with the Rattler defense as Nadarius Fagan picked off this screen pass by the Bulldogs. Musa immediately went back to work. This time Shareed, who catches this short pass, and then maybe the play of the game with this shoestring grab. From there, the other half of the big boy backfield, Jalen McLeod, would power in this TD. Stanley Mentors dropped all 330 pounds on Langford with this tackle for loss. In a desperation toss, Langford offers up this interception to Javen Morgan. FAMU would respond with a time-killing drive, ending with the third touchdown connection between Musa and the X-Man. In the waning seconds, with FAMU with all backups in, Alabama A&M scores again. This is where things get quirky. With backup quarterback Cameron Sapp in, the Rattlers throw a swing pass with 34 seconds remaining. Maynard was furious with FAMU doing it, and he and Simmons had words at the midfield handshake. The final from Bragg Stadium, FAMU 38, Alabama A&M 25.
Well, when he sets his feet, he's as accurate of a quarterback as I've seen in a long time. So again, just a matter of him consistently, playing with great fundamentals, playing with a great base, just trusting, the process that the receiver's going to be where they're supposed to be. When he set his feet, threw the ball on time, made some phenomenal throws, and those guys made big-time catches. But that's what they're capable of doing. K-Dot made a huge catch down the sidelines. Zay Smith made some phenomenal catches. Even Darian Oxendine made some big plays down there. So again, when he settles down and plays within the system, I think he's got a chance to be one of the best quarterbacks at our level.
Well, we had probably 18, 19 minutes of the first half. We controlled the ball and kept our defense off the field, kept their offense off the field. And I'd say that was a huge drive right before half. And then the second half, we weren't able to sustain drives and get those first downs on third down. And we had a couple of turnovers and turned the momentum, got that crowd back in the game, got those guys fired up, and just able to overcome it in the second half.
Texas Southern at the University of Texas San Antonio. Can we say it one more time? The Roadrunners, beep, beep. Big underdogs Texas Southern was heading into this one, but TSU did move the ball and put some points on the board. Andrew Body picked up a couple of touchdowns in the first half. He scored on 2 separate 4-yard runs. That was the lucky number for him. At halftime, Texas Southern was only down 21-17, but the second half, it was 4 touchdowns and a field goal for the Roadrunners. TSU loses at 52-24.
So really, we feel like, if we make a play or two here and there, we got a chance to win the game. And so really proud of those guys and the way they competed. But yeah, that was the biggest difference, that the interior guys.
Bethune-Cookman versus Grambling. Both teams trade short touchdowns in the first quarter for a 7-7 ball game, and then the Darnell Dees show began. Directly after a Grambling touchdown, Dees took it 97 yards to the house. Hurry, hurry, it's only a 30-minute show, man. Come on, run. And Bethune-Cookman was rolling, but Grambling would retake the lead. Quatarius Hawkins finds Fazion Wilson for a 9-yard score. And then our guy Joshua Reed nets a safety with a tackle in the end zone here, and Grambling led it 19-17 at the break, but Grambling had nothing left for the scoreboard in the second half. 2 field goals and 2 touchdowns, including a pick 6 by Dees for Bethune-Cookman, and along with some key defensive stops on 4th down, BCU wins its first game of the year 36-19.
We scored in all 3 phases. Our guys played together as a team, and we made the plays that we were supposed to make. Didn't play a perfect game. Still have a lot of things to clean up, but I do believe that the game we played on Saturday, it set us in the right direction.
And Grambling head coach Hugh Jackson raised some eyebrows from Saturday's game. He took the iconic G logo off of the helmets for that game. Like, guys, no G for you. That's interesting. But here's what he had to say to everybody. He told everyone that his players must earn the right to wear the G.
Well, I think it all starts, let's just be very transparent, with discipline. And I think it's discipline not just on the football field, but off the football field. And I think the great players that have come before the young men that are there today that wore that G on their helmet, that those guys set a standard. There's a standard that you have to live up to as a Grambling State University football player. And we want to uphold that and make it even greater. And I think it's so important that we all understand the history and tradition of Grambling State University, that G does stand for greatness. And so I think it's something that you earn. I don't think it's given. I think you earn it. And I think you earn it as a football team. I think when we're doing what we should be doing, both, on the field, off the field, how we go about our business, then we can really say that we're representing the university the right way. But these young men get it. I have not had one player question me about it. They want to do everything they can to earn the right to wear that G and wear it the right way. And I think that's satisfying for me.
All right, let's stick with Grambling. Another big game for the Tigers this weekend, the State Fair Classic against Prairie View A&M. Last season, Prairie View won the game in Big D 24-10 over Grambling. It was two different head coaches last year, but Bubba McDowell, now the new head coach at Prairie View A&M, was on that Prairie View staff last year as an assistant, and he has the team headed in the right direction. Coming off the road win against Alabama State, the Panthers are looking to win their second big classic game of this young season.
Big time game, it's on the west side, a game that we definitely have to have. And again, we know that coming into this game, we're going to have our hands full. I mean, again, as I said earlier, they're young, they're fast, they're talented. And again, they're running something different than what we normally used to seeing, and with the NFL type style that Coach Jackson has put it in with these young men. So for us, it's going to be how well we tune in to practice this week, and hone in on our own skills and ability, to see things, to see what they're doing and what we can do to stop these guys.
All right, let's go ahead and take a full look at this weekend's schedule for Week 5 in the SWAC. Our look at this week's schedule is presented to you by Rocket Mortgage. For an expert partner to help buy your new home, Rocket can. Bethune-Cookman makes the trip to Alabama A&M for our sole afternoon game this weekend. Mississippi Valley State is scheduled to go to Tallahassee. Now, we'll have to see if Hurricane Ian impacts the time, date, or location of that game. Arkansas Pine Bluff goes to Southern University. We've already discussed the State Fair Classic. We got the Marching Storm versus the World Fame. That's going to be good all the way around. Woo, a big one in the Big D. Alabama State on the road at Texas Southern. Let's talk about those Hornets at Alabama State. First SWAC loss last weekend at home. Now it's time to hit the road against what appears to be an improving Texas Southern team.
Left a lot of points on the board, so we'll kind of recap, get things going. Just have to put the ball in the end zone. That's the biggest thing for us right now. Going on the road next week against Texas Southern, so that involves a travel, flight, and everything with the logistics of moving to a different location. So we just have to rise up to the occasion of playing another tough Texas team, and Coach McKinney has those guys right in the thick of it in the West. With the 1-1 record, so we know that they have aspirations to get to the SWAC championship game, and so do we. So after dropping this first game, we just have to pick it up and get things going.
Southern University, the last time we saw them on the field, it was that goose egg against Texas Southern. They're coming off a bye week, though, back at home, taking on Doc Gamble and the boys from UAPB.
I thought it was real early, so I thought we had to continue to work on getting game ready, because I didn't think we played a full 3 games. When you talk about the very first game that we played, a lot of our guys didn't get a chance to play a full game, so we wanted to be game ready. So we approached this last week as we had a game to play on Saturday, and that's our mindset. So and we always do a self-scout, a 3-game self-scout, regardless of what. So we did have an opportunity to do that as well to better ourselves.
We want to get a win. That's what we want to get done. We want to get a win, and different styles of play because we got a different head coach. And when we went down there before, their style of play took on the personality of the head coach. And this team here that we're going to play is going to eventually take on that personality of the head coach. I think he has a creative mind offensively. For them, we got to think about it. They've had an extra week. They had a bye week, so they've had an extra week to prepare. I don't think they'll get away from what he's done in the past. But they've always been real well coached on offense and creative and know where to attack you at. I always hear Coach Dooley say we're gonna scratch where the itch is. Well, he knows how to find out where your itch is.
It's an off weekend for Alcorn State along with Jackson State. Coach Fred McNair knows the off week isn't exactly like a vacation week, right? As he continues to work on his Braves team.
Our offensive line probably as good as any in terms of what they can do to create running lanes and to gain rushing yards. We had a 4th down and 4th down and 1 on our own 20. And I'd elected to go for it because I had confidence in those guys to get that first down, but we kind of missed out on that. We didn't stick to the blocks that we needed to. Didn't get no movement, so it was kind of tough right there. And they stalemated us there, and that was one of the things that we gave them a short field, and they took advantage of it. They scored 7 points on that one 4th down play on inside our own 20. So that's just how I feel about our offense. I think we smashed the ball just as good as anybody, and I think that they understand that, and what we do offensively.
Time now for the SWAC Players of the Week. From their performances in Week 4, Players of the Week are brought to you by Pepsi Zero Sugar, official partner of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. You are going to see some real familiar names right here. Jackson State's Shedeur Sanders, Alcorn State's Jarvion Howard, Florida A&M's Isaiah Major, and Bethune-Cookman's Darnell Deese are the SWAC Football Players of the Week. We actually have a little co-offensive action going here. Sanders, the co-offensive Player of the Week. He had a career day during the Tigers' 49-7 win over Mississippi Valley State. He set career marks in completions with 40 attempts. He had 51 of those, and passing yards 438 to go along with 4 touchdown passes. Sanders completed passes to 12 different receivers, including touchdown passes to 4 different receivers. They are deep and good. Co-offensive and newcomer of the week, Howard, he rushed for a career-high 299 yards on 23 carries. I mean, 1 more yard, he could have got 300, right? He had 4 touchdowns on the ground. He averaged 13 yards per carry. That's a first down. 13 yards per carry. That's a first down every time he touches the ball. He also caught 1 pass for 2 yards. Howard contributed scoring runs of 44, 11 yards, 24 yards, and 78 yards, respectively, while playing, although he wasn't respecting the defense, while playing a key role in the Braves' come-from-behind conference win. Our Defensive Player of the Week, Major, was a key contributor for FAMU, making plays all over the field in the Rattlers' 38-25 win versus Alabama A&M. He finished the game with a career-high 14 tackles, 10 solo, and 1 tackle for loss. Our Specialist of the Week, Dees, we talked about him. He made an impact during Bethune-Cookman's 36-19 win over Grambling State. He scored twice. We showed it to you midway through the first quarter on that 97-yard kickoff return, and then the pick 6 for Bethune-Cookman's first victory, and that was a big one. He totaled 127 return yards during the game. All right, let's talk more about this performance from Shedeur Sanders, his dad, Deion Sanders, and his coach, by the way. He said, look at the numbers. And if you go and look at the numbers, I mean, Shedeur is a top 5 quarterback in all of the NCAA, the important statistical categories for a quarterback. And Coach Sanders says, hey, when you talk about Heismans, you need to talk about Shedeur.
Quarterback should be mentioned upon the Heisman race. That's up for you guys. And I want you guys to push those pens, push those computers, and do what you can, because you put his numbers up next to the guys in Power 5s, he's doing as much or more than they're doing right now. So when they start talking about Heismans, which I saw before the previous game, I got a little upset that they didn't mention us, period. And then they mentioned what Shedeur is doing. Forget that he's my son and his last name is Sanders. Any other man doing what he's doing and accomplishing what he's accomplishing this far, this early on, deserves the recognition.
Well, there's a lot of engagement going around with that conversation. People are pretty passionate on both sides of that argument. That's an easy video for you to find online. Just jump in on the conversation. Heisman or nah? That's pretty much the choices there. All right, let's take a look at the standings and see how the wins and losses are adding up for your favorite HBCU in the SWAC. Our look at this week's standings brought to you by General Motors, official sponsor of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Let's start out west. Prairie View A&M riding high at 2-0 in the conference, followed by Alcorn State. Texas Southern and Arkansas Pine Bluff are lurking right there as well. Southern and Grambling State, both 0-1 in conference play, but it's still early, right? Still early. All right, let's go to the east. Jackson State is cruising along so far, 4-0 overall. Bethune-Cookman picked the right time to get his first win. FAMU with the conference loss to Jackson, but sitting at 1-1 after beating A&M. Alabama State, Alabama A&M, Mississippi Valley State don't have a conference win as of now. All right, that is it for this week's Cricket SWAC Game Day presented by Pepsi Zero Sugar. I'm Tali Carr from Atlanta, wishing everyone well and praying for those in the path of the storm this weekend. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you next week.